Hey everybody, Brad here. I've finally got all the stuff to install the camera, the Ford system trailer camera on the trailer. Now, I've got a host of parts here, and I'm going to show you what all those things are that comes with the kit. Now, just know that this is meant for a very long trailer, so there's going to be a bunch of excess wire, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to install it. I'm in Texas right now, and it's so dang hot during the daytime. It's hard to do much, but I'm hopefully going to do some of it tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'll get up and do the rest while it's not in the blazing hot part of the day. So right quick, I'm going to show you what all the parts are, and we'll go from there. Here is the camera. Now, this camera is supposed to go into a mount, which is here. So this mount would go on the back of the trailer, and then you would put the camera inside that mount and adjust it how you need it to. So camera, I'm going to put mine in the bumper, and I'll show you in a moment what that's going to look like. Here are the tire pressure sensors. So your valve stems for the tires. So I need to take the tires off the trailer and have these put on, and that will transmit to this box, and this box will plug into one of these cables here. Now, I don't have on my new truck nor my current truck a system for this. So this is your 7-way pin connector like normal, and this is your camera and your tire pressure TPMS system built in. That's all one of those. Now, if you happen to be towing a separate trailer, this system comes with this trailer plug. So typically in your truck now, like down here in my truck right now, I have one for the 7-way pin and one for a standard trailer plug like this. So now I have this, and if I'm towing a trailer, that I can plug that in there and then plug it in here. But I never use that, so that's a bonus. You have the hardware to mount the camera mount, which I'm not going to use. This bundle of wires here, so this is actually what plugs into this when I get it on the truck. So it plugs in there. When you're not using it, it's stowed in this, so you can put this underneath somewhere. I'm going to put it on my A-frame, but you can put this underneath on the A-frame, and then you can stick this in here, and that keeps it from getting wet or getting grease in it or anything else while you're stowed position. So that's what this is. These are various plugs, the camera wire. So this is what's going to run the length of the trailer. And the front of this, so this piece right here, is going to plug into the camera. So I'm going to wire this all the way through the whole trailer and plug that part into the camera. This other end of this cable right here will plug into this cable, and then it splits. So on that you have two different plugs. This end of the cable is going to plug into the other end of that cable wire, and this one is supposed to go to this TPMS system. This right here is your tire pressure system repeater, and there's another cable on here, this little tiny one right here. This will not be used. So this is for a yaw sensor. So this will help, you can hook up where yaw, so when you're doing your knob in the truck, that part will work. But I don't have that system, and I don't plan on putting that on. So for now, all I'm going to do is pull this thing through the trailer, and I'll put all this other stuff on later, because I have to change out this on the truck, and I'm just going to wire that in. I'm not going to put it on my current truck because I'm going to pick up my new truck in a few weeks, and I got to put all that stuff on that new truck. So I just want to get the trailer wired as soon as I can to make sure it all works. So let me show you what I'm going to do for the trailer. All right, it's going to be somewhat hard to see, but there's a cable coming out of here. There's a hole in the frame right there. So there's a hole in the frame right here. This is a fiberglass wire puller, and I've run it all the way from here all the way to the back bumper. Spare tire, that's where the majority of my wiring goes through the rig and into the floor. And here's the other side where it's going to run all the way back. Right down there in my bumper, you can see where I pulled the cap out. There's a hole, and that goes the entire length of the trailer all the way up front to the A-frame. So now let's go try to pull this thing through. Okay, I'm going to show you some what I'm doing here real quick. So I'm going to cut some of this sheathing. So I have the sheathing, and I'm just sliding it down over this wire. Now, I'm going to hook the end of my wire to here. But I'm trying to figure out a way like there. So I'm not pulling on wires, but I can hook, I'm going to hook it into here like this, and I'm going to screw the end of that rod onto here. And I'm going to cover this with sheeting and then tape it up so I can pull that through there without banging on any of this stuff. Now, this rubber grommet here is probably going to have to come off, because I don't know that that rubber grommet will fit through any of those holes. And I don't really need it because I'm not storing it on a trailer or anything like that. So I'm going to cut this thing off. Tricky part is going to be getting this screwed onto the end over there. So I may need to go down below and do that now. I'm just going to screw this on the end here, because there's ribs all the way down and something is going to hang on them. That's why I'm doing all this extra work, because even just getting this rod through there was not the easiest task in the world. So I'll put that on that tape, and I'll put the sheathing on, and now I'm going to tape up the sheathing all the way down. Now I'm going to straighten out my cable here and start pulling. So right here is where the camera is going to poke through, and the wire will run along here, right through there, and up through that hole. And there you have it, folks. One cable pull through. I'm going to show you how much extra I got, because it is ridiculous. While I'm peeling this off, I have to do some other modifications to this bumper. Because this is a rear hatch, it has a different lid, and there's a reinforcement back here behind the aluminum bumper, which is not on normal trailers. So I'm going to have to modify. Either I can take that reinforcement all the way off, which is likely to happen, or I can cut a hole in it right here in the middle where the camera's going to go, but there's a reinforcement even in the middle. And I don't really ever step up there. That's not something I tend to do. We just use it for the breeze. Piper steps in and out of there, but we rarely ever do. All right, so I have plenty of cable here to hook up my camera and then some. And as you can see here, I've got enough cable to do the trailer all over again. So I'm going to pull it up as far as I can, or push it in the hole as far as I can, and use this part to stick in the hole up here. It's so funny seeing myself on camera. I just shaved my beard off yesterday, or shaved most of it off. Anyway, I'm back under my truck, and I'm going to put in this camera system so the wiring works appropriately. And then I know that I can then finish installing everything on the trailer. So when I get to my new truck, I'll put this piece in and everything should be seamless. So let's pop this thing out and I'll show you where everything is. So right here is your tabs for to pop that wire out. And then up in there, I gotta find it, but there's a wire that actually plugs into the camera port. This bottom piece here, there's a wire up in there that I gotta disconnect and plug into that. So this is your standard camera, and I'm sorry, your standard 7-way pin, and the bottom of it is your standard trailer plug. This is the new, so that's the 7-way part up there and the camera part at the bottom. So if you have a 2017, so I pulled the old one out, and the camera connector is here, so it's kind of hidden on top of the spare tire. Hard to find, and probably going to be hard to get out. And I can't film this because I can't put the camera in the way and see what I'm doing. Okay, so now you can see I have both plugs here, and then I'm going to hook my camera system to it and make sure everything works. So here is my wire that I ran up through the trailer, and here's the plug for the camera. So I'm going to pop this off. And plug this in. Now we're going to go put the camera on the back side of this plug and plug everything to the truck. All right, I've got my truck repositioned, and now I've come under here and plug this in. So if you're wondering why I didn't put this on the back side, it's because I'm not planning on leaving this on this truck, obviously, because I've got a new truck, but I just want to test the camera system on the trailer out before I go put this on the new truck. So now there's that. Let's go plug in the camera. Here's the cable. Now, one thing I don't know for sure is, so there's where the camera's going to go. One thing I don't know for sure is which way's up. So if I need the plug to be on this side or on that side, it's something I'll have to figure out. Okay, I have now got the camera hooked up. So I'm just putting it in reverse. I'm not running right now, but here to plus camera, and I can see it facing up towards my tag. Now let's run back there and see which angle I need it to be. Dang Ford and all their dingy bills. So I'm just going to set this here like that and see if that's right side up. Okay, so that's right side up. This is just a reflection on the bumper, but so I know that that's the right angle, and you still have both side cameras if you need them, and rear view camera on the bumper. So I'm happy with that. I know that it all works. Now I can go install the camera on the bumper. Now this aluminum cover here is screwed on top and bottom on both sides. On a standard Airstream without the rear hatch, that's all you have. But on this one, there's a plate behind it. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like, because I'm going to remove it right now. You can see this extra piece back here, and this just gives the bumper strength and stability for whatever, particularly people stepping on it. But right here in the very center is an extra plate, because most people step in the center, so it gives it extra durability. I plan to cut a hole in this piece and move those reinforcements over to each side. There's not enough space between the bumper and this right here to put that camera. And all the dirt that's in there from the road. So I could take my drill and drill out a big hole here, but I have to cut this plate also. So really what I need to do is drill all this out. I'd like to keep it because it's handy, but I don't really need it because I don't really ever step up here. But I do like the added benefit of the strong bumper back there. So I'm going to go find my big drill bits and hopefully cut some holes in here. It's kind of hard to see, but I've drawn a square on here, and that's what I'm going to cut out. Based on where this hole is, camera needs to be like right there, so it's too tall. So I'm about to cut that and that piece out. You can see here where the camera's going to go in the hole. I'm going to take some Sikaflex sealant 221. I thought about just 3M taping it, but I figured this would be the best option to keep water and stuff from getting in the hole. So I'm just going to put a little small bead around, and a little bit more on this side where it can jam into. So now that's in the hole. Squeeze down. Camera's out. All right, so that's good. And then up here in this channel, I can run the wire along there to go back in that hole. Now in here, I'll just run this cable along the top here. One other quick thing about this camera, it's supposed to be 32 inches off the ground, or 31 inches or something like that off the ground. I know this is not that, but it works pretty well. Here's the A-frame, or the back side of the A-frame where I put the system through the hole there. I'm going to attach the wire all the way up here, and it goes through that hole. And I laid it out and made it exactly as the same length as my 7-way pin cable. Now I got to stick all of that in that hole and attach everything up here. Also, the TPMS system I'm going to leave it like somewhere in this area right here, depending on how I can clean my wires up, but I'll just put it right in here. That way it's free from any rock chips or debris, and it's closer to the tires. All right, I went ahead and put this on the truck because I've got a couple more weeks to use it. So it's quite simple to put in and out, but my testing this morning, I didn't want to put it all the way in. So there's that. And there's that, and it seals up here. So let's go see what's going on. I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and it is 102 outside, I believe. Okay, camera. So that's my front view camera and my 360 camera, showing my doors open. I don't have a camera on the front. There's your wide view on the front, just the front view and the whole thing. Now, I'm gonna put the truck in reverse and close my door because it won't let me do anything else. Camera. So that's the side to side coming out of my rear view. And rear camera. So that's on my bumper. And it's pretty good. And it's a pretty wide view. So now I'm curious to know, while I'm driving down the highway and I hit camera, you can't see going behind you. So I still have my rear view camera for the trailer, but backing up, at least I have the camera on the trailer. But the new truck, riding down the highway, you can select that and still see out the back. Here's the final camera back here. I got a little bit of the glue right there. I'll cut that off, but that's not a big deal. And I still got to go under here and fix that wire, but also not a big deal. So I added Sikaflex to that hole. It's hard to see, but I covered up the rest of that hole with Sikaflex. So there's the TPMS sensor. I put it on that wall, and I put a bunch of Sikaflex in that hole. So all the excess wiring is back behind that panel. So the wiring comes along the A-frame and in here. I just thought this was a more secure way so it didn't fall down back there, and then it runs under along that channel. And then it follows from down here, it follows all the way along this gas line, all the way up front. And that's where I married the two. So my 7-way pin cable, and then this one comes back to here. And I have the storage pin right here on the side of my battery box. So that's my setup for the camera system. And I do have the new truck now. So camera plugs in here, 7-way pin plugs in here. And then it has the camera back here. It also has a camera on top of this should you have the tailgate down. Just waiting on my topper to replace all that mess. So far the camera system has worked exceptionally well. I've really enjoyed having that camera. I like not having to use the big camera up here on the back of the trailer and having that big screen there, because the new truck has a giant screen. And I'm going to do, I'll either already have done a video on the truck, or we'll do a video on the truck and I'll show a lot of these features. But I can drive down the highway and hit the camera button and see this camera behind me, so I can see people if somebody's right behind me. The tire pressure system shows up on my dash, so I've got all 4 of these tires integrated into the truck itself, so I can know what my tire pressure is at all times and tire temperature. And you can set a level that it's supposed to be, so it warns you if it's not at that level. And just the system in general is very easy. I would love to have the camera a little higher, but with this rear hatch, it makes it almost impossible to do unless you wanted to run the camera inside somehow and hook it up here. But that's way more work than I would ever want to do to it. So I'm happy with it in the bumper. It works great in the bumper. It's just a little low for trying to see too far behind you, because it's so low you can only really tell when things are kind of close to you back there. But I have my mirrors, I have all the camera features, and I love all the factors of that camera, and love all the functions of the camera system within the new trailer. So it's a pretty easy install for the Airstream, as long as you have a feeder, some type of fiberglass wire chaser thing to run the length of the rig. So it's inside, and then a few little self-tapping screws and some few tools. It's not that big a deal. Putting the camera in is the hardest thing. If you recall back the Ronnie Dennis video where I was at his place, he's the one who punched a hole in the bumper, because that soft aluminum, trying to drill a hole in there, it gets jagged and looks weird. So if you have a punch, you can punch a hole in there. It looks way better and works way better too. So I've been very happy with the camera system and wish I had done this long ago. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via the comments down below or the contact us link on our website. Thanks for joining, everybody. Happy adventures.